Vienna's city walls. The empire had the largest population in Europe. It was bigger than France, Russia, Spain, or England. With 50,000 people, Vienna itself still had a relatively small population compared to the likes of London, Paris, and Moscow, but it held a key position as the dynastic hub of Central Europe. In other countries, dynasties are episodes in the history of the people. In the Habsburg Empire, peoples are a complication in the history of the dynasty. The Habsburg lands acquired in time a common culture and, to some extent, a common economic character. These were the creation, not the creators, of the dynasty. No other family has endured so long or left so deep a mark upon Europe. The Habsburgs were the greatest dynasty of modern history, and the history of Central Europe revolves around them, not the other way round. Vienna was a melting pot of nationalities from across Central Europe and beyond, with visitors struck by its polyglot population and its burgeoning cultural scene, which attracted the finest composers, performers, and artists from near and far. The city was also the Christian bulwark against 2 Turkish sieges, leading Catholic resistance to the Reformation and opposition to revolutionary and Napoleonic France. Bonaparte's foreign minister Charles Talleyrand stressed to Napoleon why Vienna's regional and international role was of such importance. Your Majesty can now eliminate the Austrian monarchy or re-establish it, but this conglomeration of states must stay together. It is absolutely indispensable for the future well-being of the civilized world. Over the course of 20 years of warfare, Austria provided the most consistent continental opposition against revolutionary and Napoleonic France. Despite numerous defeats across Germany, Bohemia, and Italy, the Habsburg forces continued to fight, handing Napoleon his first personal battlefield defeat at Aspern-Essling on the outskirts of Vienna. In the greatest battle before the First World War, an Allied army under Austrian command took to the field at the Battle of Leipzig. 500,000 men from across Europe took part in this battle of the nations, where Napoleon met his real Waterloo. It took the Congress of Vienna to re-establish peace and stability across the continent. During the 19th century, Vienna quadrupled in size to become one of the largest cities in Europe. The city walls were replaced by a wide boulevard around the old town centre, which became home to some of the grandest and finest buildings on the continent. While Austria's political relevance began to be eclipsed by the rising power of Prussia and a unified Germany, it remained one of the great powers. This ended with defeat and collapse in the First World War, a development that was even lamented by foes such as Winston Churchill, who described it as a cardinal tragedy. For centuries, this surviving embodiment of the Holy Roman Empire had afforded a common life, with advantages in trade and security to a large number of peoples, none of whom in our own times had the strength or vitality to stand by themselves in the face of pressure from a revivified Germany or Russia. The noble capital of Vienna, the home of so much long-defended culture and tradition, the centre of so many roads, rivers and railways, was left stark and starving, like a great emporium in an impoverished district whose inhabitants have mostly departed. Vienna's woes continued with the impoverishment of the 1920s, the Nazi Anschluss of the 1930s, and the Second World War. Only after the re-establishment of the Austrian Republic and the end of four-power occupation in 1955 did Vienna begin to fully prosper and reinvent itself as the international capital. On the front line of the Cold War, only miles from the Iron Curtain, Vienna became the preferred neutral meeting place for world leaders from West and East. Today it is home to the third global headquarters of the United Nations, the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, OSCE, the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, the OPEC oil cartel, and a myriad of international organizations. In becoming a world center for diplomacy whilst retaining its status as a global city of culture, Vienna is, truly, the international capital. The spelling of names and places is always a challenge, given there are some English language versions for both and multiple different versions in the languages of the region. I have tried as far as possible to use the name versions that will be most recognizable to English language listeners, for example, Emperor Francis Joseph I, but Archduke Franz Ferdinand, despite their sharing the same first name. English language versions are used for place names.